Hey guys, welcome to the show. My name is Brooks Conkle. I'm the founder of Gulf Coast BIZCON. So our mission is to engage and empower side hustlers and micropreneurs. We just believe that when these people connect, good stuff happens. So that's what we're all about. And I'm excited today. I've got Leavie King with me today. And so he created a career, his own business out of speaking. And so I'm really excited to talk to him about that. It's a industry that intrigues me. And he trains groups of corporate folks and stuff like that. I believe he started back in, if I'm correct, 2014, 2015, give or take, doing that full time. And we're gonna talk about that. So I'm excited to bring him on with us, and let's bring him on. Leavie, how are you doing, sir?
Brooks, I'm well. What about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk to you and get to know you better. You were slated to be a star in BIZCON 2020, and then COVID-19 happened basically. We postponed our event. We postponed it further, and then we made the decision that we were just going to, as it set, we were going to cancel that event. And so, but I wasn't going to let you go, and I wasn't going to let my speakers go. So I wrote you into a conversation with me. For now, which is part of our pivot as a business of BIZCON, is a video series. It's a podcast, and this is just a part of our educational training for micropreneurs and side hustlers. So I appreciate you being a part of our pivot.
Well, listen, thank you for allowing me to be a part of that pivot, Brooks. It is I'm excited, definitely excited about the things you're doing in business, and just to have the platform to come on with you. I watch you very, very intently, Brooks, and the wonderful things you guys put out. So I'm excited. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate the opportunity to come and just share. So thank you so much for inviting Coach Stuff. I do appreciate it.
Heck yeah. And I don't know if I told you this or not. So I first heard of you. I saw you were speaking to a group. What group was it? Is it just now dawning on me? I think you were the MC for Victory Health. Was it Victory Health? Did you MC?
Yes, that was last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Hope for Healing. Yeah, Hope for Healing event. And by the way, fantastic event, fantastic organization, Victory Health Partner. So I have the humble opportunity to be on their development council. So I'm excited about the things that they do. And with my sitting on that council, they approached me last year to see if I would be willing to contribute in the MC way. So hopefully I did a good job. I enjoyed it, but it was a great event. It really was. It was fantastic.
You got on my radar. I was like, this guy's cool. Who is this guy? So no, I thought you did an excellent job. So hats off to you, and thank you for doing that for that organization, which is a great organization. I agree with you. So I want to know who you are. How did you come into, this is gonna be the short version of, who's Leavie King, and how did you decide to say, hey, I want to train people and I want to speak and I want to do this? Like, how did that come to fruition?
Well, I tell you that the journey has been long, but the journey has been full of interesting twists and turns. I'll tell you that. So the short version, Brooks, many years ago, I was a manager with an investment firm. So it was an investment firm, a money management agency here in Mobile. And one of my responsibilities was to go around and speak about money management with different organizations that were doing, housing first, how to secure housing, how to prepare as a first-time homeowner. So the organization tapped me into that. So once a month, I would go to these different scheduled events, and I would just speak on how to manage money. So there were bankers there, there were insurance agents there, and everyone spoke to the event to educate those persons in the audience of how to become insightful first-time home buyers and homeowners. So, but there were some ladies there that we became friends, and they heard me speak and share. And long story short, they were in an organization here in Mobile, and they recruited me to this organization with the underlying goal of allowing me to be a part of the oratorical competition. Now, Brooks, I'm not a speaker at this time. I'm just speaking, from what I did as a professional. And I joined the organization. They shared with me the reason why they recruited me. And I did. I competed. So, but in this organization, you compete locally. Then if you win, you compete on the regional level, which is in Atlanta. And if you win, you actually compete in New York for the national event. So I won here locally. Then I won in Atlanta. And once I won in Atlanta, I was able to have a free trip to the conference and speak as the oratorical representative for the Southeast region, which was a big deal for someone who wasn't a trained speaker. I'm just speaking, Brooks.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was exciting. So my wife actually had an opportunity to go with me to New York, and this was fantastic. And so by this time, I'm thinking I'm so good. I'm thinking I'm doing such a great job here. And so I'm on stage. You could not listen to the other speakers. Once you spoke, you step off stage, so you couldn't listen and steal any type of nuances from someone. So by the time they brought us all back together and I'm standing on stage, and they began to call out the winners, starting with third place. So I'm standing here, Brooks, and I'm pretty confident. I knew I had delivered a really great speech. And they said third place, Leavie D. King III. I'm standing there and I'm not listening. And then it hit me. Oh, that's my name. So I walk over, I take my trophy and everything, and I'm like, third place. So when it was over, my wife came to me and she says, hey, listen, she says, you were great. The other guy who won was good as well. You should have at least come in second place. I'm like, listen,
okay,
free trip to New York. I'm good. So didn't really worry about it, Brooks. Months later, I received my scores. There were 4 judges. Now, let me frame this for you. We were in New York, which was the Northeast region of our organization. Okay. The gentleman that won was from Philadelphia, also the Northeast region of our organization. Now, when I received my scores with those 4 judges, the max you can receive was 100. I had 2 100s, a 99, and I will never forget this score because it's the year of my birth, a 72. And I'm thinking 2 100s, a 99, and a 72. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So what I did right then and there is I made a pledge to myself. I would never, ever lose another oratorical competition in my life. I would make it impossible for someone to choose someone over me. So I began to do some research. I found Toastmasters, which is a fantastic organization. Fantastic. I joined Toastmasters and spent about 5 years there. I learned the nuances of speaking, how to structure, how to do different things. And I went on to win 27, 26 wins or something like that. So, so it was just in my oratorical life. So that's how I got into actual speaking. So it was not by design. My education has nothing to do with speech or speaking at all. It's business. And I've just taken this so-called ability, I don't know whether it is or isn't, coupled it with my business degree and my business sense, and hey, sparked a really great organization. So that is what has gotten me here today.
That's amazing. So clearly you have a natural gift for speak, some sort of natural, but I will say that you couldn't start where you are today with that whatever natural that you had. You probably wouldn't be where you are today. I feel like everything we do is always builds upon each other. Like when you were doing that speaking for the housing organization, how many times do you think you did that? If you just had to guess,
probably I would say maybe 12 times, in addition to, other different things where people pull me into, but people started hearing my name and started asking me to come and speak to kids and speak at lunches and things of this nature. So I just went and spoke and just did the best job I thought I could actually do, and it just it sparked something in me, but it also sparked something in the people that listened to me because people kept saying, listen, you're good. I'm like, I'm not, I'm just talking. They were like, no, you were really great. I'm like, So, and again, it's the culmination of getting where I am today.
So for anyone that's listening and maybe they're thinking, oh man, I want to get into this speaking, career or gig or make it a part of what I do. do you think that everything that you did, I feel like it's all led up, like it's all practice, right? Like, so because you did, like, this is what I'm hearing. You did about 12 talks, if you will, and that you were familiar with about the housing. And then people kind of said, oh, this guy's good, and asked you to do other stuff. And you did it. You know, you didn't say, no, not interested. It's like, it sounds like you took the opportunity and you said, yeah, I'm gonna go speak to these groups. Well, it sounds like other people heard you and kept connecting with you, and you kept, it's almost like that has snowballed into where you are today. I mean, is that accurate, that everything's kind of snowballed?
I would agree with that. I'll also say that anybody that wants to become a speaker, listen, because nowadays everyone wants to be a motivational speaker. And I'll tell people, just because you can speak doesn't mean you are a quote unquote speaker. Because you use the right articulation, the right pronunciation, the right enunciation, that doesn't make you necessarily a speaker. So my suggestion to anyone would be, first of all, if you want to become a speaker, you need to speak to make an impact, not to impress. If you step in front of a group of people and your goal is to impress people, you're going to lose some people. But if your goal is to make an impact, listen, I encourage people to jump head first, to be honest with you. So when I step in front of a group of people, really my focus, Brooks, is to make sure, whether it's a training or a keynote or some type of virtual opportunity, my goal is to make sure that once I depart from that group of people, that they're better off after hearing me than they were prior to hearing me. My goal is to make that impact and give them something new that they can use in their careers or in their personal lives as well. Hence the word coached up. When I leave people, they should have been coached up on some level prior to meeting me in person.
That's good. Yeah, I've never. I like that. I like that definition, or that thought behind your business, coached up. So, I don't know. I'm trying to decide whether I want to go down that train of thought about speaking and people that want to do it. Yeah, I know, you see my wheels turning. One, for me, I don't know anything about enunciation, pronunciation. I feel like one of the words you said, I'm like, I don't even know if I know what that means. So, but you mentioned Toastmasters earlier. Is that so? That's actually on my personal list. I have this. I don't call it a bucket list. I call it a life list. It's like, it's just random things that I want to do while I'm alive, and it could be as simple as like learn a Rubik's Cube, which I did learn, and then I forgot how to do it, so I couldn't do it right now. Or it could be something crazy like, travel to some far off place or help serve whatever. I mean, it's just a giant list. And one of the items on there is actually go through the Toastmasters program, and that's for me. Do you recommend the program just in general to people?
I do. Okay. Yes, most definitely. I think people have a misconception about Toastmasters. The foundation is actually leadership. That's what it's about. It's leadership, and that's their founding methodology and philosophy. But of course, they do teach you how to frame speeches, how to make sure that speeches are in order, that they flow well, that they're chronologically put together, that they make sense, that you've got your intro, your information, and then your closing. So they do that. They do teach you structure. They also teach you how to speak extemporaneously, off the cuff. You can give me a topic and I can just go. Well, Toastmasters teaches you that methodology, because if you can speak about any topic off the cuff, you can build any type of speech if you can speak extemporaneously. So they did that. And again, it is fun. It actually is. It's fun. It teaches you how to really see a vision and put it together. And put it together in a way where when the light bulb goes off and those people realize what you were trying to share, it's fantastic. And I have a philosophy as a speaker. One of my old mentors gave this to me over 20 years ago. When I do my speeches, Brooke, my goal is I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell it to you. And then I'm going to tell you what I told you. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to discuss. I'm going to tell it to you. And then I'm going to remind you of what I've told you. That makes for a really great, intriguing speech. And then you've got to bring in elements of, motivation, inspiration, push, drive. All of those things I try to encapsulate in a speech when I'm delivering some type of keynote, whether it's for commencement, a conference or what have you, I try to make sure that all of my speeches encapsulate those different ingredients.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good tips for anyone that's thinking to get into that, either get into the industry or just like if you're looking to present to people. I mean, those skills are just very important. I mean, I think for anyone, especially a business owner. I mean, imagine if you're I don't know. I mean, maybe you're starting a business and you need to pitch investors or something. I mean, what better practice than learning to speak in front of a group and just getting comfortable with that, so that if you ever have the need to speak in front of people, big or small group, whatever, you have these skills, right? So I mean, that's huge.
Well, people judge you. People judge you by what you present to people. It's that first impression, and when you have an opportunity to verbally communicate, listen, it's important. It's important how we do it. It's important with the preciseness that we do it with. It's important that when we're speaking to people, we're speaking to a group of people. We need to make sure that we're speaking on the lowest level possible, because it doesn't matter if you're using these wonderful, large educational words. If you're missing, 50% of the people in the room because they don't understand what you're saying, then what's the point? So you have to step in and make sure your communications, they're just start with the basics. Make sure everyone in the room knows exactly what you're trying to communicate and share. That way, everyone is going on this journey with you. And the same thing with presentations. You've got to be able to take people on a journey to make sure that they stay engaged with the speech, the presentation, the whatever you're doing. People have to feel as though they're part of the journey.
Good point. That's good. What about nonverbal communication? Are you concerned with that very much because like I've actually read something before that says that a good majority of what we actually take in is nonverbal before even we take in speech. And I'm not saying you're super concerned with that when you prepare for talks or anything, but I'm just curious if you do any nonverbal Jedi studying or anything that that prepares you.
Well, of course, because people pay attention way more to the things you don't say versus the things you say. It's your facial expressions. It's the movements that you give out when you are delivering or communicating with someone. So you might tell someone, I agree with you, but you're frowning, and the question is, do you really agree with me? You know what I'm saying? Because you're frowning, you've got this scowl on your face. So we have to be very mindful of what our face puts out, what our shoulders, our posture, that really matters. And when you step in front of a group of people, if you step in front of a group of people with arrogance, listen, you're killing your audience. There's a difference with stepping in front of a group of people with confidence versus arrogance. No one wants to listen to an arrogant speaker or an arrogant presenter. They want to listen to a confident speaker or a confident communicator, because what it does, it automatically, organically builds rapport. You want to build rapport with those persons you're going to be communicating with, because if you don't, you're never going to get them from point A to point B and C and beyond. You've got to build that rapport. So we've got to understand that what we project non-verbally affects that entire level of communication.
Is that a pretty fine line? That line between confidence and arrogance, is that, like, would you say that's a fine line? Like, have you ever seen a speaker speak and you're wondering, like, is that confidence or is that person being arrogant?
It's important. Well, for me, I think it's not speaking down to people, we're speaking to people. If you're speaking at the audience, that's arrogance. If you're speaking to them, that's confidence. And people can tell the difference. It's the difference between saying you and we, you and us. So when I have an opportunity to speak to a group of people, I'm always using the words we. We. It's not you, it's not me, it's we. It's us, because it shows this is a collective opportunity. This is my opportunity to come and build a connection collectively with myself and every single individual in that room. So to me, that is a strategy that I think more speakers and presenters need to use. Get away from the I, get away from the me, get away from the you, and start traveling in this world of we and us. That tells the difference between someone who is, hey, I'm the professional with all of the solutions, versus I'm the professional that's going to help you go from point A to point B. That's the fine line that I believe that most speakers really don't recognize.
That's huge. That we language that you just mentioned. I've never really thought about that in a speech or in a talk or talking to a group, because I've found that you can do that with employees as well, and it's very powerful. Mm-hmm. If you run a business and you have an employee, talk about a project that we're working on. Yeah, what do you think about this? Even though maybe an employee is just doing a task for you. Ultimately, maybe they're doing X, but to involve them and make them mm-hmm. feel part, because they are a part of what you're doing. True.
Well,
that can be carried over to.
Well, and it does. Impressions matter, and I also have. I go back to my mentor and some things I've learned over the many years that I've been doing this since 2003 now. But people will forget sometimes what you've said, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. So if you make them feel as though they're a part of the process, now they're more engaged. They will remember, they'll retain, their retention levels are much higher. If you feel as though you just want to say words to them and at them, then their level of retention and engagement is not going to be as high as you would like for it to be. So you've got to make sure that you want to make people feel a certain way, Brooks. If I can make a person feel a certain way in a speech or a presentation, they never want it to end because they're enjoying it. I've tapped into that inner self that I know people are struggling with different things. I know people want to succeed. I know people want to win. I know those things. So my goal is to tap into that to make them feel a certain way. Now they go from this to here's another speaker to wow, this guy really knows who I am. So you want to make them feel a certain way. So now that, again, I keep going back to the word journey because that is my premise as a speaker. It's a journey. And my goal is to allow those persons to journey with me, not to be behind me or in front of me. We need to be on that parallel line of we're all moving forward together. So you've got to really tap into their feelings to get them where they need to be.
Yeah. Does that fire you up when you're giving a talk to a group and you see something go from this to leaning forward a little bit on their seat? Like, does that excite you?
Well,
with what you do?
Well, I'll say this. I guess I wouldn't say it excites me, but I expect it. I walk in the room.
Okay.
I know there are going to be people who don't want to be there. When you're talking about a 6-hour training, who is excited about sitting in a 6-hour professional development session? No one. Absolutely no one. But I can almost promise you in about 15 to 20 minutes after I begin, they forget that they're in a session. They forget that it's going to be 6 hours. They're just like, wow, I am so ready. I am anticipating the knowledge that this guy is going to bring to me, and they're ready to go. So I anticipate that. But as a speaker, I've learned to be a really great observer. So I've got 30 people in the room, 100 people in the room, and every single person gets my attention. Every single person, because I am consistently perusing the audience because, as you mentioned, I've got to know who's with me, and I've got to know who's, thinking about, the dishes in the sink at home. I've got to know those things. I've got to get them from there to here in order for them to have the high level of retention. So I've got to observe those things. But yes, ultimately, when I see someone that when I'm introducing myself and they could care less about my degrees and my, the letters behind my name and my certifications, they don't care about those things. When they go from, this, and some people are like this physically, Brooks, some people are like that, mentally, some are like that both ways, and I've got to pinpoint those persons. But yes, it stokes my fire because when I see someone, when I open it up for discussion and questions, and that one person is sitting over there to the left and they could care less, and they're like, you've shown me something different. And I'm just like, there you are. I've got you. Now I can lead that person in any direction I choose, and they're going to follow me, So yes, it excites me, but also anticipate those persons in the room no matter what. So that's a A answer, but that's a /B answer as well to go along with your question.
No, that's good. So specifically coached up. So you've been speaking for quite some time. But then the company coached up. When did that transpire? You say, hey, this is what I want to do, as a career, not as like a, periphery item or when did that start?
Yeah, and to add to your point, that's what it started as. It was just a, I love how you say side hustle. It was a side hustle, to
Yeah.
be honest with you. I had a job making great money, and this is something I did on the side. And so back in 2013, I was involved in a really bad car accident, head-on collision. I
Oh,
was out
wow.
of work for a couple of months, but that really gave me time to really think. I'm 48 now, so 14, 7 years ago, give or take, I was 40, 41-ish, give or take. And I was thinking about, where am I going with my life here? Yes, financially I'm doing okay. I could do what I'm doing for the rest of my life, but is this what I want to do? So really, I just sat and thought one day, what can I do? And so at that time, really, I was more of a speaker, motivational, type speaker. People would call me
Okay.
to speak at different events. But I said, if I'm going to build a business, no one knows me enough to jump out there with, hey, Leavie King is now a full-time professional speaker, paying. No one was going to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I wanted to transition my business. I wanted to build more relationships. So I started doing my history and my research. And I found out that what would give me a better opportunity to succeed is to lean more on professional development. Because it doesn't matter how great of a speaker you are, the conference is not going to bring you back every year. No one wants to hear the same speaker at graduation every year. So I know that if a university brought me in to do a commencement speech and I was just fantastic, there were going to be years before they would bring me back again. And that's not a relationship. So what I want to do is pivot. And I decided to lean more on professional development because every organization needs development, every single organization. I don't care whether that person is a solopreneur or that person has 500 employees. You need development to help you get to the next level. And so what I began to do is learning more about professional development. So our business is 75% professional development. I do that more than anything because my clients need me on a more consistent basis. So whether it's once a year, quarterly, monthly, now I'm able to build the relationship to where I'm viewed as an extension of the company. That has allowed my company to sustain over the years versus just being motivational and a keynote. So 75% of what we do is professional development. But even with that, Brooks, we've transitioned. Again, stepping out full-time in 2014, January the 1st of 2014, we were just heavily, professional development topics, leadership, customer service, workplace behavior, all of those different topics. But I started thinking over the years, what do I actually do? And so as I began to grow, really what I do is I affect cultures. So what we are now is we are a culture development organization. No company can reach the precipice. No company can reach the pinnacle unless they have a phenomenal culture. But in order to have a great culture, you've got to touch each and every individual that's employed with that organization. So I'm able to go in with the development and touch people on an individual level. Now, if I can touch each individual and I can begin to introduce different levels of growth, now the culture of the organization begins to take form, and now your organization continues to become better. So employees want two things from their employees: productivity and no absences. Okay. So in order to increase productivity and no absences, people need to be happy. Okay. If I'm a happy employee, well, guess what? I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to have less absences. I'm going to be more of a team player. But that is developed and derived through developing those team members. So professional development is key, and culture development is where we ultimately land when someone chooses Coached Up.
So are those I guess they're both related, but are they two different things? So developing culture and then doing the professional development, whether it's to a group or individual, are they one and the same, or would you say they're two different things? Like helping a company figure out that culture, develop that, or does one lead to the other? Like does the professional develop lead into figuring out the culture?
Great question.
How does that work?
So I think that the culture is the lead in, because honestly, that's what we all want. We want a great culture. So we're able to build the great culture with great professional development topics. Okay. So the culture is at the top, but it's derived or it's achieved through really great professional development topics. And we've got 35 topics that we can offer to any organization. And every organization is the same when you need team building, you need customer service, you need leadership, you need communication skills. Every organization needs those types of development topics ultimately. But when we go in, our philosophy is to engage each person on a one-to-one basis. So if we're talking 35 people in a room, Brooks, I've got to connect with each one. If I don't connect with each one, I'm not going to change the culture of that organization. So that's when I pivot and I switch, and I understand my focus is not this development topic. Okay.
Yeah.
They see the development topic and that they know that's what they're going to receive. But my focus is affecting that culture. And so while they're thinking professional development, I'm thinking culturally, I'm going to affect this person, which then in turns allows them to become a better team member.
Gotcha. When you say culture, how do you define culture? Just like your personal definition of culture for a
culture is being motivated. That's culture. You know what I'm saying? Being happy, being feeling as though you're appreciated, feeling as though you're a part of the team, that the organization doesn't have levels of silos within externally, so internally rather. So that's culture to me. It's a person feeling rewarded with what they're doing every single day, feeling appreciated with coming to the office every single day. And it doesn't matter whether you're the janitor or the CEO. Everyone wants to feel appreciated. Everyone wants to feel as though that their contributions matter. That's culture, So, but in teaching people how to communicate better, they begin to appreciate one another more, which affects the culture. Teaching people how to deal with conflict in a positive and an appropriate manner. Now I know how to deal with Brooks when we have an issue. Now, when we're able to deal with it properly, it affects our culture. So all of those things can be tied to the culture of an organization with the underlying facts or the underlying precepts of bringing those professional development topics to the table.
That's good. Do you think it's easier or more difficult to create culture in a smaller company versus a larger company? Do you think it doesn't matter? It's all about just infiltrating, or do you think the size of that company matters?
That it doesn't matter. It just takes longer with a larger organization. It just takes longer because, if an organization has 500 people, there's no way I can do a 500 person professional development because, when you do professional development, you're trying to connect and it's impossible to connect with 500 people. So you just have to break that down into smaller groups of, 35, 50 or what have you. And it just takes a longer time to actually get to where you're trying to go. But you can get there. We just have to be patient in order to do it. So it doesn't matter. One just takes a longer trajectory of time than the other.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. At the end of our conversation, I'm gonna ask how people can connect with you, but let's save that for the end. But if there's a question that you wish you were asked sometimes, but maybe you don't get asked, is there something that kind of stands out? Like, man, I wish I would get asked this, and I could mention this about myself or about my business or about what I do.
Wow, great question. Something that people don't ask. Well, I tell you, that is a great question, Brooks. Something that I guess I would probably say, and this goes back to a previous response that I gave you. People don't ask me why enough. I just why. Why do you do what you do, and why are you so? Where's this passion come from, Leavie? Where does it derive? Where's the genesis of this passion? People don't ask me why I do what I do. They assume they know. And I think it's a really intriguing, and I also think it's an inspirational response that I share with people. So I don't get asked why enough. They're happy with the outcome. But
I want to know why. I should have thought to ask you that, Leavie, and I didn't. So now's the time. I do want to know. What is the reason why?
I like seeing people become better. And again, that's the coached up philosophy of leaving people being coached up. I want to see people be better, and everybody has the potential, Brooks, to be better, to become better, to succeed. They just need a little nudge, or they need the right blueprint in order to get there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm a Marine, and you know, they taught me a few lessons in the Marine Corps. And one of the things that they taught me is everybody has the opportunity to be great. Only a few people have the energy and have the fortitude, the staying power to actually become great. You know, so we all see people who are successful, Brooks, and we only see the success. We don't see the work that they put in order to become successful. You know, I believe that there is no such thing as an overnight success. It's taken, you know, 7 years of daily work to get where I am today. That's not overnight, you know, so people think that you arrived yesterday, and that's just not factual. You know what I'm saying? So people want to know why I do this, because I just like to see people succeed. I like to see people become better when they think that they've reached the ceiling. And then I reveal to them that there is no ceiling. You know, there's no ceiling to your success. If you are placing ceilings on your success, listen, you are a sad person, you know, so because the thing is, when you place yourself in a box, at some point you're going to outgrow the box, but you can't go any further because you feel every single nook and cranny of the box. So don't put ourselves in boxes. Understand that the level of successes that we can reach are unlimited. We've got to put the work in to get there.
I'm gonna show you this real quick, because this is something I say all the time. Destroy the box. I say, you know, don't just think outside of it. Destroy it. And the reason why I say that isn't, I guess it's just to catch attention, right? Just to say, like, hey, exactly what you said. Eventually, you know, you're gonna outgrow that thing if you put yourself in a box and just just keep putting pressure. I tell my son, it's kind of weird. So I have a 13-year-old son, and you know, he's learning, he's in school, and he's I'm not going to use this stuff. You know, I try to tell him though that, like, you know, education never stops, and you're always learning something. And he's learning just as much when he's fishing with his grandfather as he is at school. You know, he's learning about a boat or about fishing. Mm-hmm. And like, I tell my wife that, like, I love the fact that learning never stops. I am always trying to learn something. I'm trying to figure out, what do I not know? What can I add on to the current project that I'm doing? I think a lot of people, unfortunately, I think a lot of people at some point hit the stop button on learning, and they're just kind of living. And I feel like part of you pushing people to do better or not have a ceiling on where they can go is a part of that same ethos that I have about, like, you're either growing or I don't want to say dying, but you're moving forward or back. Like, there is no real constant, you know, and it's either you're expanding what you can become. And I feel like that's a part of maybe of that why of yours, you're saying, because you want to see people, you know, grow or get better. It's a part of that growth, you know?
Well, I have a philosophy, and, you know, I'm always meditating and thinking about the end of my day. You know, I'm always sitting down at the end of my day, whether it's just, you know, emails being sent, phone calls made to potential clients, reaching out to current clients. I'm always sitting down and analyzing the end of my day. You know, hey, did I accomplish what I want to accomplish today? Did I do a good job today? Hey, was I just simply a good person today? You know, and I'm looking at the things where I may have achieved and also where I failed. And so I step into the next day saying, okay, you didn't accomplish that yesterday. Now you've got another opportunity to do that. So, and I want to share something with you through my meditation. And I know we hear this statement all the time, Brooks: knowledge is power. And this goes back to the why of me. And we hear this statement all the time: knowledge is power. And I am a huge proponent. Well, let me change that. I'm a huge opponent of that statement, because I don't believe that. I believe that knowledge is absolutely nothing. Okay. And I'm going to kind of present this to you. You know, I can know everything in the world, Brooks, you know, and I've got all this knowledge and all of this intellect, and I know how to accomplish this and how to fix this and how to build this and how to prepare this and come up with solutions. But if I never share it with anybody, what's the purpose? What have I truly done? So I am under the belief that knowledge is not power. Shared knowledge is power, because simply this: if my son comes to me, and like you, I have a son, he's 17, he's stepping into his senior year. I'm so excited, but I'm also afraid.
Yep. Not ready. As we are as parents. Yeah.
You know, but if I know how to shave, Brooks, okay, and my son comes to me, Dad, teach me how to shave. And I know how to do it properly. Go figure it out on your own. He's going to go through levels of pain and angst and hurt because I'm not teaching him the proper way of doing it. Yes, can he figure it out one day? Yes, he will. But because I have the knowledge to give him, so to give him that blueprint, that roadmap, he has a better opportunity to succeed. So now the knowledge that I give my son, he then in turn gives it to his son. And that son gives it to the next son. So when I leave this earth, Brooks, the knowledge that I have has been given to someone else. So the knowledge continues to live versus going to the grave with me. So when I'm talking about knowledge, Brooks, everything that I know, I don't mind sharing it because true power lives after you're gone. Okay. So I'm going to take the stuff that I know and I'm going to tell people. Because if I've got something that can change a person's life, I may never meet that person in Seattle, Washington, or Los Angeles, or Birmingham, Alabama. But if I tell you, and you know someone in Seattle, you know someone in Los Angeles, you know someone in Birmingham, now you've taken what I've given you and you've perpetuated and you've shared that with other people. So now the knowledge that I have continues to grow. So shared knowledge is not power, Brooks. Knowledge is not power. Shared knowledge is where true power lies, taking what you know and giving it to someone else.
Shared knowledge is power. Not just knowledge is power. Knowledge is only a piece of it, but if you share it, that's powerful. I'm glad you shared that story with me. That's good. All right, I'm gonna honor your time. I appreciate you being with me, Eric. If people want to reach out to you or your company, what's the best way for folks to connect with you?
Several ways. They can reach us on our website at coached, that's COACHED, up the number 2 success.com, coached up to success.com. They can also reach us at our offices, which is 251-554-7238, which is our number. They can also email me, Leavie, Leavie, at coached up the number 2 success.com. Those are our ways, and they can visit us on Facebook at our fan page, which is Coached Up to Success. We're all on social media, so if someone wants to reach out to us, it is very easy for them to accomplish that.
Nice. That's perfect. Sounds like if they Google you or your business, they would find you is what it sounds like.
Coached Up. All one word, Coached Up.
Coached up to success.com. Well, Leavie, thank you so much for being with me. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed our conversation. I've learned a good bit. So hopefully people that listen to this, whether now or into the future, they will take information and get value from this. So thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the platform. Continue doing what you're doing. You motivate me, and I'm sure you motivate others as well. So destroy the box. I love that.
Sounds good. All right, Leavie. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. All right, guys. So that was Leavie King. That was great. Great conversation with Leavie, who has taken something that he has a passion for, helping people grow and get better. Began as, we can call it a side hustle, began as a passion project and has grown into a business. And I like how he talked about choosing a niche of corporate training and kind of going down that route. Really smart idea, not to be a generalist, but really kind of get in there and target a bit further. So we have some events and stuff coming up. I'm not going to give you those details right here. I'm going to tell you to connect with us online. So just make sure you find us at gulfcoastbizcon.com and you can see what we have coming up. You can sign up for our email newsletter, which would give you early access to things like this, like our podcast and video. And we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.